How's it going, boys? TKC here, and welcome back to another album live reaction for you guys. And in this episode, I'm going to be going over Porter Robinson's new album, Nurture. Porter Robinson announced Nurture at the beginning of 2020 with the release of his single, Get Your Wish. The album was supposed to be released in 2020, however, I wouldn't be surprised if it got delayed to 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Since the release of Get Your Wish, Porter Robinson has released 5 singles, those being Look at the Sky, Musician, Mirror, Something Comforting, and Unfold. If I'm going to be honest though, I haven't really been too big on the singles so far, as I'm mostly impressed by really solid and clean production, and unfortunately Nurture, while being very clean, hasn't really had much of a production focus so far. Nurture has presented itself as a very vocal-driven project, and while I have no problem with that, it just really limits how much I'll be able to get into the project. However, with that being said, I'm heading into Nurture with an open mind here, and I'm very curious to see what Porter Robinson has come up with. If you guys like this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, along with checking out my social media platforms in the description down below. Let me know what your thoughts on the album or video are in the comments, and let's get into the live reaction. So just to start here real quick, I'm going to give my thoughts on the singles that have come out already, with the exceptions being Unfold and Musician, as I've yet to hear Unfold, and Musician I did a live reaction to, which you can click the I in the top right corner to check out, or by heading to the description. We'll go in album order, with the first one being Look at the Sky. Look at the Sky isn't exactly one of my favorites of the singles, however it does present itself with a really nice vibe. Look at the Sky, in my opinion, is probably one of the better singles that came out, however really didn't impress me that much. The track presents itself with a really nice emotional vibe, and once again a more vocal driven project. However, Look at the Sky presents itself with some pretty unique production aspects, and these can mostly be seen in the second half of the choruses. Overall a pretty nice vibe, but one I just haven't really been able to get into that much. As for Get Your Wish, once again I kind of feel the same about Look at the Sky, however wish that it did also have a little bit more of a production aspect to it. I really like the introduction of the halftime feel that the first chorus presents itself with, but overall there's not really much for me to talk about here, as it's once again another vocal driven project. As for Mirror, I think Mirror is probably my second favorite single of them so far. Mirror presents itself with a much more fulfilling melody, and overall really does a better job at emotionally touching the listener. My favorite part of the track though comes just right after the second chorus, with that little instrumental interlude that really adds that production aspect that I've desperately been seeking from this project. Again, not really too much to say as it's more vocal driven, but ultimately one of my favorites of the singles so far. And by far my favorite single off the album so far has to be Something Comforting. I think of the singles that we know so far, Something Comforting is the one that dives the most into that production aspect that we know and love from Porter Robinson. The quote-unquote drops, I guess you can say, that are present on this track really provide a nice sense of euphoria, and once again really emotionally attaches the listener to this song. Something Comforting also probably provides the most emotional vocal performance so far on the album, and I think that ultimately plays into how much I really enjoy this song. With it being the second track that came out, I was really excited for Nurture when it did come out, as I ultimately thought it was going to be more of an evolution of Porter Robinson's sort of EDM sound. However, the other singles haven't really given me that same vibe so far. Overall, it's pretty safe to say I'm heading into this project hoping that more songs are like Something Comforting, but at the end of the day, like I said earlier, I'm heading into this with an open mind, and I'm very curious to just see what he's done. However, with that out of the way though, we will hop into the first song I will be going over today, which is Wind Tempos. Ooh. Really nice piano so far. I like that. Very, very slow build up so far. Ooh, nice violins coming in. Okay. Ooh, nice glitch there. Okay. Very interesting. I don't know. It's kind of a very unique feel so far. I don't really know how to describe it. Okay, you can kind of sense it's starting to build up a little bit. Really nice sound choices on display. Honestly, I'm not too crazy about the sound it presents so far, but I have to really acknowledge that the sounds here are pretty cool. Okay, if I'm gonna be honest, this is kind of starting to get boring. I can't even lie. Oh. Interesting. Kind of diving more into that piano interlude sort of feel. I have no idea what's going on, honestly. I have no idea. Ooh, nice chords. Really like that. Very warm feel. Honestly, the intro was kind of boring, but I definitely dig this vibe a lot more. I can kind of just enjoy the sort of piano chords that are on Prison here. Ooh, those vocal chops work very well with the piano. I honestly like that. Ooh, nice vocal processing. Okay. I don't know, for me personally, there's just not really much to say. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Ooh, really like the sound choices at the end here. Yeah, I honestly don't really know what to think about that one, to be honest. I mean, it's not really like a song, I'd say. It's more of like an audio painting, I guess. Just like very artistic and just not really a style I'm too crazy about, to be honest. But I can definitely see where the appeal is on that one. Just based off personal criticism alone, I feel like the intro definitely overstayed its welcome and just didn't really head anywhere that was necessarily too particularly interesting. And when it did, like with the piano chords and whatnot, once again, feel like it kind of overstayed its welcome. It's not really my position to necessarily comment on where I think it could or could not be better, because it's ultimately just, again, not really a sound I'm too familiar with or really feel comfortable criticizing. With that out of the way though, we will head into Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do. Okay. Very happy, cheery guitar chords so far. Oh, kind of an interesting vibe so far. Yeah, it does really have that nurture sound that has kind of been present so far with the singles. This is kind of, I don't know, I don't really know what to say, man. It's just very unique. There's the vocals, eh? If I can kind of dive into the themes I'm getting so far, it seems like a very sort of elementary, more like reminiscing back on childhood, I guess, but that's just kind of the vibe I'm getting from it. Okay, it's kind of, if I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of staying in the same place a little too long, not really much progression going on from the sound. Ooh, nice pan work there. I gotta really appreciate that. Okay. Ooh, very sudden ending there. Okay, so just going off first impression, again, not really a lot of thoughts to say about it. I really enjoy the vibe present, and I kind of feel the same way about this one that I do feel about Musician, where it really provides that nice, happy, upbeat feel, but I feel like it doesn't really progress enough for me to just get into it enough. I feel like the main sound it presents itself with just stays around just a little bit too long, and while he does add some really nice fills and glitches and twists to the sound itself, I don't know, it's just not enough to keep me really hooked that much. Like Wind Tempos, I can really appreciate the artistic and musical aspect that the track presents itself with, but just ultimately is not one that I'm really going to see myself returning to that much, just for the reasons I aforementioned. So next up, we will be live reacting to Mother by Porter Robinson. Ooh. Really nice reverb vocal chops there. Really like the vocals here. This is one I can kind of dig so far. Also, really love that snare. Lots of punch to it, very clean sound. Okay. Yeah, I can dig this one. Really like the vibe this one presents itself with. Ooh. Really, again, that percussion's really coming through. Yeah, I like this part. Ooh. I like that little piano interlude sort of there. Okay. Okay, so just off first impressions alone, I really like the more slow feel that the track presented itself with, with a really fulfilling vocal melody, and overall just really did a good job at emotionally giving me those nice vibes. I feel like a big pattern with a lot of these tracks is that they kind of do stay in the same place for a little bit too long. However, I find like this one has just a nice little bit of details and twists to keep me engaged. The percussion adds a really nice punch to the track, and ultimately really does deliver on that production aspect that I've sorely been missing throughout the project. So yeah, ultimately a pretty good track here from Porter Robinson, and probably one of my favorite tracks off the album so far. All right, next up, we're going to be going over Dullscythe, which a lot of people have been talking about. So I'm pretty excited to see what's going to be on show here. Okay, this is already going to get weird, I can tell. Really nice pan work. Really, really nice. This is so unique. Holy shit. Oh my god, what the frick? Oh, it's rising into something. Oh, finally, a sense of some normalcy in the track so far with the percussion. Ooh, good keys. Very satisfying. Really enjoy the second half of this track so far. Ooh. Really like that bit there. That was very solidly produced and had some pretty cool ideas. Okay, so just off first impressions alone for Dullscythe, I don't know, it's again one of those tracks where it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of a little too weird for me to really get into. The glitchy piano vibe that the track has in the first half is really enjoyable for maybe about the first 30 seconds, but doesn't really elevate past that point and really overstays its welcome to about the 2-minute mark. However, as the track evolves towards the second half, it really takes on this nice ambient feel, accompanied by some good reverbed keys and some really warm pads. And then as towards the end of the track, the percussion kind of comes in and once again really adds that nice punch that really takes this track up a notch for me. Maybe it's just because I have the attention span of a goldfish or something, but I find that with these ideas that really overstay their welcome, it ultimately kind of off-puts me from the unique nature of the ideas themselves. Next up, we'll be going over Sweet Time. So it seems to be a very recurring theme here with, you know, some very warm ambient pads and some key melodies. Oh. Nice, dude. I dig this so far. Come on, give me some evolution here. Come on. Oh, yes. Yes, dude. Yes. Oof. I think this is definitely one of my favorites so far. I like this. I really like this one. Okay, the processed vocals are back. Okay. Yeah, just a very nice warm vibe from this track. I'm really digging this one. Oh, nice, dude. Really nice synths there. Yeah. This is definitely one of the better singles for sure. Cool, dude. Nice outro too. Okay, so definitely impressed by Sweet Time here. I wasn't really expecting that, to be honest. The track really adopts this slow, more ballad type feel and really feels like a duet with the processed vocals in combination with the non-processed vocals. And I don't know, man, it just works as a track. It just freaking works. I'm gonna start sounding like a broken record, but it kind of stays with the idea a little bit too long. But you know, the idea itself is really solid, that it's ultimately one that I'm willing to stick around with. And again, he adds those little nice touches that do keep the idea a little bit more fresh. Just seems like a really nice nighttime vibe overall. And I think of these singles so far, I think I could see myself returning to this one a lot more than the others. Next up, we'll be going over Blossom. Lots of acoustic guitar on display. Very emotional guitar chords. Ooh. Feels like a nighttime lullaby almost so far. I don't know if I can kind of describe it. The guitar and the wave sounds in the back almost kind of just remind me like more of like a beach setting, I guess, if I could put it. I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe. Wow. Very interesting. Really nice vocal melody there. Oof. Okay, dude. Alright, so just off first impressions for Blossom, it really kind of almost took me into a different direction that I wasn't really expecting. I think if I have to give this album credit for one massive thing, it's just that the sounds on display are so unique and you just never know what you're going to get from each track. Like I mentioned earlier in the reaction, it kind of gives you this vibe that you're just chilling on a beach, you know, playing a ukulele. And it's just a really nice chill vibe. I kind of like it. One I probably won't be listening to too much, but I definitely appreciate the musicality and overall uniqueness on display with this one. Okay, so next up, I'm going to be going over Unfold with Totally Enormous Extinct Dinosaurs. Very clean vocal production. Oh, I dig that so far. Oh, I really dig this so far. The production is very present so far. The vocal melody on this one is probably my favorite aside from Something Comforting so far. This is very fulfilling. Honestly, I'm not too crazy about the processed vocals throughout the whole album so far, but when they have their own spotlight here, I find it works a lot better. Very glitchy sound. Oh, I like that more angelic, almost choir sound there. That's really nice. Oh, yes, dude. Yeah, dude. This one's solid, man. Oh, that's unique, man. That's so unique, dude. The sounds on display, man. There's some really cool ones. Okay, so that was Unfold, and I do have to say that one did impress me quite a bit. One thing that Nurture has done really well so far is provide the listener with some really fulfilling, nice vocal melodies, and I think Unfold here is probably one of the best examples of that. The melody moves around at a nice pace and is very impactful, and ultimately makes these verses a lot more memorable in my opinion. The chorus has a nice, very grand sort of saw feel, and it does honestly remind me a lot of Worlds in that aspect. I definitely say that that's one of the better tracks off the album, and I'd probably have to slot that in my top 3 so far. I was definitely impressed by that one. And with the final closing song of the album, we're going to be going over Trying to Feel Alive. Just such unique sounds on display, man. I don't know what instrument that is, but the dong dong, very nice. Is that like reversed vocals? Is that a harmonica? Oh, dude. We need to bring those back, man. Or is that a violin? Now that I'm listening, I think it's a violin. Alright, where are we going next? Oh, okay. Oh. I think for Porter Robinson, I definitely do prefer that unprocessed vocals. Like, these sound really good, man. Ooh. Very grand closing outro sort of feel here. Really appreciate the backing instruments here with that violin and along with that almost like more harmonica sound, and then you've got a bunch of other things, you know, very full complete sound here. That sound is back. I really appreciate that one. That's very nice. Nice, dude. All right. Just off first impressions alone, I do really appreciate a lot of these sounds on display here, and it's kind of more giving me an idea of what Porter Robinson was going for with Nurture. If I do have to give this track credit, I think that the production aspect here is very full, and while it's still kind of at the background a little bit, it ultimately, you can definitely appreciate some of those little minimal aspects that kind of peek their way through the track as it goes on. As a closing track, it does its job pretty well to ultimately round up the theme that the album's going for. And just a couple final thoughts about the album here. While I do think Nurture presents itself with a very unique musical aspect and is definitely Porter Robinson in its essence, it doesn't ultimately deliver in terms of my personal preferences. However, I can see where someone would enjoy this project. If I can put it in the best way possible, I feel like Nurture delivers more as an artistic project through the means of music. And what I mean by that is the more experimental nature that the album here presents itself with kind of almost breaks the conventions of what your average listener tends to expect from music. However, if you can break through that traditional aspect of what most listeners expect from music, Nurture would definitely be a project for you. The variety on display here certainly cannot go unnoticed, and I feel like definitely plays into that idea. From a critic's standpoint though, I can definitely appreciate Nurture as a project. However, just from my preference alone though, it doesn't really fit in with my personal preferences. Just diving into some of my past videos, you can definitely tell I'm a lot more into the melodic dubstep, melodic bass scene in EDM currently that features very production driven tracks with some very euphoric vocals. And while this project definitely does deliver on the euphoric vocals aspect, I feel like the production here just doesn't really give me anything to work with, as I'm not one to really care that much about what the vocals are saying. And just because it doesn't align with my personal preferences doesn't mean I can't really appreciate what's on display here, and ultimately I can definitely see why fans of this album would see it the way they do. And that should be it from me, guys. This was kind of definitely an interesting project for me to take on, but I really figured that you guys would want to see it, as a lot of fans of Porter Robinson do tend to dive into that melodic bass, melodic dubstep sound. Stepping out of my comfort zone and diving into a sound that I'm not really familiar with has definitely been a challenge for me, but I'm hoping you guys are willing to stick through it and really kind of understand what I have to say. However, as always though, I will see you in the next video. Peace.